Have you ever felt the world collapse in slow motion? That instant where everything you built, every brick carefully placed, every move calculated with surgical precision, simply evaporates. And the scariest part? You're still standing, breathing, heart still beating. Gus Fring just looked his own death in the eyes. Literally. The explosion destroyed half his face, bones exposed, flesh torn, his left eye dangling in a cavity that seconds before belonged to an impeccable man. And what does he do? He walks out of the room, steady, like he's leaving just another business meeting, stops, breathes, and adjusts his tie. Let that sink in for a second. A man with half his face blown off by a bomb uses his last seconds of consciousness to straighten his tie knot. Doesn't scream, doesn't cry, doesn't beg for help. He simply straightens the fabric around his neck and then collapses, dead. Man, this isn't just a television scene. This is visual poetry about who we choose to be until our final breath. Gustavo Fring spent his entire life building a facade. The respectable businessman, the community philanthropist, the smiling manager of Los Pollos Hermanos, who knew every employee's name. Every measured smile, every calculated handshake, every donation to the DEA made with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. Beneath that perfect mask, a methamphetamine empire supplying the entire American Southwest. We look at this and think, monster, criminal, psychopath. But hold on a second. How many masks do you wear every day? How many versions of yourself exist between breakfast and bedtime? The work you, the family you, the social media you, the you alone at 3 in the morning staring at the ceiling. Gus Fring took it to the extreme, sure. But he understood something most of us pretend not to know. Life is a stage. And whoever controls the narrative controls the game. Now think with me. Why the hell would a man in his final seconds of life worry about how his tie looks? Because the tie was never just a tie. It was armor. It was a statement. It was the constant reminder that Gustavo Fring wasn't some common criminal crawling through the underworld. He was a general, a strategist, a man who transformed trauma into fuel and revenge into art. Remember his story? That moment in Mexico, decades before, when the cartel murdered his partner right in front of him? Blood dripping into the pool while Don Eladio laughed. Total humiliation, absolute powerlessness. Gus never forgot. He didn't scream, didn't lash out, didn't make a scene. He swallowed that pain, stored every drop of rage, and spent 20 years building the perfect structure to destroy each of those men. And he did it. One by one, methodically. The tie scene is the final period of that journey. It's Gus telling the universe, "You can kill me, but you cannot break me. You can tear my flesh, but you won't tear my dignity." There's a line he drops to Walter White that sums it all up. We are not the same. And they really weren't. Walter was chaos, uncontrolled ego, a chemistry genius who got lost in his own reflection. Every decision he made was an emotional reaction disguised as strategy. Gus was order, absolute control. Every move thought out 15 steps ahead. He didn't react to the world. He shaped the world around his own intentions. But here's where the tragedy lives. That obsessive control, that refusal to show vulnerability, that need to maintain the perfect mask until the very last second, was exactly what killed him. Gus underestimated Walter because Walter was imperfect, emotional, unpredictable. And in life's chess game, sometimes the crazy pawn moving outside the rules takes down the methodical king who never considered the possibility of absurdity. Hector Salamanca, that old man in a wheelchair ringing a bell. No voice, no movement, apparently defeated. Gus despised him, saw in that broken body the trophy of his own victory, would visit just to savor the taste of complete revenge, and it was exactly that contempt that created the blind spot. The bomb was there the whole time, strapped to the chair, waiting. When Hector rang that bell for the last time, it wasn't a call for attention anymore. It was a detonator. It was a destroyed man saying, "If I'm going, you're coming with me." And Gus realized too late. That millisecond where his face changes, where the mask finally cracks and comprehension crosses his eyes. Too late. The explosion, the silence. And then he emerges from the smoke, walking. Doctors and nurses freeze. The entire hallway stops. And Gus Fring, with half his skull exposed to the air, makes the movement that defined decades of existence. Straightens his tie. You know what this teaches me? We're going to die the way we lived. There's no magical transformation on the deathbed. No sudden revelation that changes who you were your whole life. The final moment is just the most honest mirror that exists. It reflects everything you built, every choice, every priority, every value you truly embraced. Gus embraced control, appearance, the mask, and he died adjusting it. The question that keeps hammering is, what about you? When the universe tears off your mask, what's going to be left underneath? Because that moment will come. Maybe not with a literal explosion. Maybe it'll be a layoff, a diagnosis, a betrayal, a mirror in a bathroom at 4 in the morning after pretending to be happy for too long. The world will test you. It will tear your layers. It will expose your bones. And in that moment, you'll discover who you really are. Gus discovered he was the tie until the end, controlled down to his last functioning neuron. But maybe, just maybe, there's another way to live. One where vulnerability isn't weakness, where showing your cracks doesn't mean losing, where you don't need armor so heavy it buries you when it falls. The cruel irony is that Gus spent his entire life protecting himself, building walls, calculating risks. And in the end, it was exactly that obsession with protection that created the gap through which death entered. He was so focused on controlling everything that he forgot. Some things simply cannot be controlled. Chaos exists. The unpredictable exists. Broken people with nothing to lose exist. And sometimes the only possible answer isn't more control. It's letting go, accepting, breathing. Gus never learned that, and he died impeccable on the outside, empty on the inside. Now tell me something. If today were your last day and you had 3 seconds of consciousness left, what would your hands automatically reach for? What gesture would define everything you were? And more importantly, are you satisfied with that answer?